Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. Today I'm out here setting up paddocks for our bull mob, and I just want to show you some of the strategies that you can use to not feed hay all winter. It's called winter stockpile grazing, strip grazing. So we're not going to give them this whole 15-acre paddock here. We're giving it to them in strips. So I got my first strip in right over there. You can see the yellow post. Started up there, hooked on cold, brought it all the way down to the valley, hooked on down there on the perimeter fence, and made it hot. I am giving them bigger areas. This is the second pass. So folks, the bulls were here in October, and we made it across, and I gave them about a third, and I left 2/3. Oops. Let me zero back out here. Look at the forage in there. I mean, my gosh. Yeah, there's some brown in there, but you know what? There's a whole lot of green. And if we pull that back, you look down on the soil surface. Gee, Christmas. It's solid earthworms. Earthworm castings. That's what all those little vermiculate deal. There's one right there's a brand new one. He probably made this morning. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Is it better than hay? Absolutely it's better than hay. That's because I didn't have to buy it. It was grown right here. We call this harvesting the hay where it was grown, by the animal's tongue. So the animal's tongue is the mower, the rake, and the baler. You know? Why have we made it so darn complicated? I love my friend from Africa, Ian Mitchell-Ennis, which will be here in May. We're going to be doing our advanced grazing school here at Green Pastures Farm. But Ian has a quote, and he always like, you know, folks just like to make things complicated. They feel like they need to be in control. And usually that's when there's a lot of money that is flowing out of this, okay? And a lot of that money, you might as well just throw it on the ground. Because that's what you did. You just wasted your money, okay? You're just throwing it on the ground. This was grazed in October, folks. I took a third. People said, oh, but there's manure everywhere, and it stinks because they've already been on it once. Well, is there manure everywhere? I don't see any. Oh, there's one. It's broken down. Yeah, there's one. It's broken down. It's because we had a warm December and the earthworms came in and absolutely annihilated that thing. Yeah, it's broken down. Folks, it doesn't even smell like manure anymore. It smells like soil. Yeah. You know, if that was a solid running manure pet, it wouldn't smell like soil. The earthworms have already broken down. So there's another one. Same deal. It's broken down. Yeah. So, of course, the bulls aren't going to eat that manure. They're going to eat around here. And it's been cleaned off. Obviously, it's not too bad a forage, or you wouldn't see this. Fresh deer manure everywhere. The deer are loving it. Which, you know, I don't mind feeding the deer. I like deer. I like deer hunting. I like eating deer. I think deer is, you know, I know they can be overpopulated, and that's why we hunt them. Folks, you gotta hunt. You gotta have a hunting season for deer. People, oh, why are you shooting Bambi? Well, I'm gonna tell you what, if you don't harvest some of them, which has happened for thousands of years, your grandfather, great-grandfather, clear back to however old you think the earth is, they've been eating meat. They weren't eating vegetables. There wasn't any vegetables, not in the wintertime. They ate meat and animal fat. That's how they survived. If they didn't have those two, we wouldn't be here. Our ancestors wouldn't have survived. You look at any cave dwelling where they painted, you know, back in the caveman days, those cave paintings, every one of them Shows these guys circling an animal with spears and throwing spears at it and such. Every one of them are just pig fat animals. Why are they going after the ones that got fat on them for? Because without the fat, they don't survive the winter. That's right, they knew that. They couldn't go after a skinny one. They picked out a nice big fat one. And they harvested that and they fed their families with it. So, I'm going to show you this whole process. Look, all you got to do is run a wire, cutting your farm in two, which I did right here. I started at the shed, and I went along this driveway with the hot wire all the way over to the end of this paddock. And I hung the reel. Now this is hot. This is keeping the animals from going that way. Okay, all the way back to the road. Stick a pigtail in, put a slip knot on it, and stick it in with your foot, and then put a brace on it like so. Okay, that's my corner post. Oh, but Greg, that's not going to keep in a cow. Oh, yes it will. Yes it will. It'll keep in a bull too. It'll keep in a whole bull mob. They ain't gonna monkey with it. This thing's gonna have 8,000 volts in it. I don't care. They're just not gonna do it. Folks go, but oh, I can't keep my wire up. The deer knock it down. Folks, we don't find our wires knocked down with deer. I can't remember the last time I had one knocked down with deer. And that's because we use poly braid, and we use yellow, and we use blue posts. And that's coming out. I'm gonna do a series on all the fencing equipment. I'm not gonna cover that right now. But there's gonna be a series coming out, all the different fencing materials that we use and why we use them. That's gonna be coming out here in the next probably 10 days. So, my four-wheeler, I got my bar on here. There's my reel. I'm not holding on to anything, folks. Here's my post behind me. Those are the ones I'm not gonna use. I've got those strapped down. It's gonna take about, I don't know if it'll take all these. I've got them loose. And I can go down this hill here. This is gonna be tough. I'll try it. To film and put a fence in at the same time. So put her in gear. Why do I have that handkerchief on there? Well, that's my brake. It's like I got my foot up there. So when I stop, that reel doesn't backspin. Okay. Check that out. Did you see how it stopped? Okay. Grab my post back here. Stick it in with my foot. Hook it on the second clip and down. Done. See, with strip grazing, you can go a lot further than you can with cattle, or than you can with sheep. With sheep, you want your posts, 12, 14 feet apart. With cattle, heck, you can go, I think I went just 60, 70 feet right there. And they're not going to monkey with it. That's because it's going to hurt if they touch it. You know what tickles me? People say, oh, Greg, I don't have time to do all this. No, but you got time to go start up a tractor, or try and start a tractor, tear your farm model pieces, unrolling hay and mud. And do you all see any mud out here? Do you? Tell me, do you see any mud? Do you see any ruts? Do you see where the machinery has tore up this farm? No. I've got this four-wheeler that weighs 750 pounds. It's got flotation tires on it. It's not compressing the soil. That's why I love the Greg Judy bale unroller. When we do feed hay, we're still using this. Okay? I don't have a $150,000 tractor that I'm destroying my farm and having to make payments. Yep. Oh, do y'all know how to make a small fortune in ranching? Do y'all know how to do that? Start with a large fortune. Just kidding. Do things wrong, it can end up that way. Okay? I've got to go down this steep hill, and I'm not going to try and do it and film. I've learned there is a boundary, and that boundary is be safe. So I'm not willing to take one for the team, going down the steep hill trying to film, put in post, and hit the brake, and get off and put in a post at the same time. So Been there, done that, and I'm not doing it again. So anyway, you can see what it is. If I hadn't been filming, I'd already been done. It literally takes you maybe 4 or 5 minutes to run one of these lines in. And that's because the infrastructure is in. So your high tensile fence is on the border down here. I don't have to put that up. There's a paddock division already over here put in. That stays in all the time. And this farm is split up in, 10 to 15 acre paddocks. And it works really good for, 50, 60, 70 head of bulls. If I had a bigger herd in here, I wouldn't be splitting it down this small because, especially in mud, rainy times, you're going to chew up some ground. So you got to watch the environment, how wet it is, and move your animals appropriately. Otherwise, you will mud your farm. And it sure doesn't hurt to have 1,000, 1,100 pound cows versus, the bigger ones, those 14, 1,600 pound cows. I would literally have nightmares last night because it rained. I could hear it hitting the roof. And I knew when I came out this morning, my pastures would not be tore up. And that's because our cows are not monsters. You put a 1,400 pound cow out here on this grass right now, it'd be very easy to track exactly where she went. Because she's going to be leaving pug marks about 8 to 10 inches deep, wherever she walks. And now you got ragweed growing in every single cow step the following summer. Now, why would you do that? That's just stupid. Well, that's why people have these, exclusion zones, sacrifice areas where they put them, because the cows will destroy your farm. And if I had 1,400 pound cows, I would have a sacrifice area. Because if I didn't, my whole farm would look like a feedlot before spring got here, and I wouldn't have any grass left to graze. And I spent a lot of money, locked them down all winter, couldn't move them on this beautiful landscape, putting the manure, putting the urine, putting the animal impact where it belongs. Not to mention the hay that's being unrolled out here. So you're getting all that beautiful seed. The organic matter is going out here on the land, not up in the sacrifice area. And the animals stay clean. They stay clean all winter long. Folks, when they get cold, it's because they got mud frozen on their hide, laying around in a sacrifice lot. Our cattle don't have mud on them. It's 30 below zero last week. The neighbors' cows were just miserable, solid mud coats froze on them. And our cattle, beautiful dry hair coats, no mud froze on them. That's because they're being moved. That's what they were designed to do, not stuck up in a mud lot somewhere. Yep. Some of it's just common sense, and we've gotten away from common sense, period. So I'm going to stop right there. Folks, hope to see some of y'all in May. It's going to be a good one. Ian's always a great learning experience. And I hope to see some of y'all there. Go to greenpasturesfarm.net to check it out. You can sign up there, and y'all have a great day.